Well, this is my little book. It's made of wood. Cute, huh? It's got the little surface symbol on there. Extra cute. And if you zoom in real close, not to me, I know it's hard not to do, but to the book, it has my initials on it. So if you ever steal it, I know where to find you. Anyway, in the book, what's important is in the front page, I've written down a bunch of cool things. And the bottom one on the first page says, "What's your story?" So I wanted to share with you my story to becoming the global ambassador for Surface Hair, which is the greatest honor. Started just like yours. I was in the back of a room just like this at a Surface New Beginnings about 12 years ago, and I was sitting next to this gorgeous woman, Deborah GRUND, and I leaned over and I said, "I don't know if you know this or not, but my name is Sean Carlson, and I'm going to work for you someday." And she says, "That's nice." And then I have no idea what she said to Wayne, but I can only imagine. Anyway, guys, I think it's important that we pay attention to the little things. And I know that as a company, and as Wayne and Deborah, the founders of this company, the little things don't mean a lot. They mean absolutely everything. And those little details are what make the difference, right? And so I want to share with you another great honor. Wayne and Deborah are now finalists for the Canadian Entrepreneurship of the Year in all of Canada. And it's because of paying attention to the details. Little things don't mean a lot. They mean absolutely everything. Let's bring back to the stage the man who does pay attention to all of the little things, Wayne GRUND.
We were high on life.
Thanks, buddy.
Bright,
Come here.
Feeling all right.
Got it.
Man, we gotta bring that back.
Oh my goodness.
You know that it don't cost a dime just to spend a little
Chair
extra
dance,
time. Just throw a little smile at somebody passing by you. And you know love don't cost a thing, but it's worth more than any diamond ring. Cause in this great big world, it's the little things. Every day that you're living, all the love that you're giving. In this great big world, it's the little
I want you
things.
and you 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 to think of the little things that have made you you, and start with one. Who inspired you to become this amazing hairdresser? Why? Somebody said you can do it. Somebody said you can do it. Somebody said you can do it. Someone said, "You want to do what?" And then somebody else came along and said, "You can do it." And right now, most of you are thousands of miles from home, enjoying Las Vegas, but investing in your future. But you have a story. And what I want us to do in this next 30 minutes to begin with is I want you to identify your story. Because every story needs to be told. And as we were coming into our global forum, I really felt a need to share with you the surface story of how this great family and culture, because you're all our family, began. But I wanted to start with you. If you have a pen, write it down. Write that person's name down who believed in you. Who's that person who said you could do it? I don't know. Maybe it's a book you read. Did you read a book that became inspirational for the rest of your life? What happened? Because I have a challenge for you, and there's two words that I feel are so important in life. And the very first one is appreciation. And the appreciation is twofold. One is when you can look in the mirror and appreciate yourself. Take time to put a pen on a piece of paper and write down the accomplishments you've done, the smiles you've put on people's faces, the young brides that you did their hair and they smiled from ear to ear at the graduations, and then the individual you consoled when they passed. when you think about the importance that you have in people's lives, I want you to recognize and I want you to appreciate that. I want to appreciate how hard you work. How did you get where you are today? I want you to appreciate the people within your world, your salon that you surround yourself with. And please take the time to say thank you every opportunity you have. So when you appreciate yourself, and then you have a high appreciation for those around you, the next word that takes me to is expectation. Because once you have a high appreciation for yourself, I believe that also triggers a high expectation. What do you expect out of you? It's very easy in life that we have expectations out of others, and I think it's important. But you can only have expectations out of other people if you have expectations out of yourself. And that's where that powerful word that I share all the time is if it is to be, it's up to me, the 10 most powerful 2-letter words in the world. Tomorrow we'll share a little bit more about them in one of the segments that we work through. But think about that story, and I'm going to just give you one more challenge. If you had a little bit of nostalgia, a little bit of a tweak about thinking of the person very important in your life, just even put your hand up or give me a nod. Because here's what I want you to do to really take it home. When you get back to your hotel room tonight, either you send a text, you send a message, or my goodness, if you got their phone, even do a surprise, even give them a surprise phone call and just say thank you. Because no matter how many years ago it is, for you to be able to share that appreciation, I think is so important. And who's going to write your story tomorrow? You are. One of the parts in my story in life is so important. And man, what a story this guy has. His name is Walt Disney. And the picture that you see on top of the slide screen right away in front of you here, I took that photo. I'll back that one up that one right there. See, I'm a little bit of a traditionalist. The only place that you can watch the parade is in front of the House of Presidents, even though I'm Canadian. And we've been so blessed in our industry, been able to take our children there. We've been able to take most of all of our grandchildren there. And it was in the late 1990s, and I was standing there, and I was watching Mickey's float come down. And thousands of people around, and all of a sudden, to me, they disappeared because I honed in on this in the front. And what it said, leading Mickey's parade, it was all started by a mouse. Wow, how powerful is that? To bring you to your knees for a second. Jamie, your amazing business there. My goodness, it was started by, you're not a mouse, but you were a mouse in the business at one time, and wow, look at it. Bob and your family, the business that you started over there. Gene and your family, the business that you started over there. Irv and your family, the business you started over there. I mean, these lovely ladies here from Illinois, wow. You see, it all started somewhere, just like this man here, Walt Disney. It was all started by a mouse. But you know what? He didn't snap his finger and make it happen. Look where the story really began. Walt Disney was flat broke, living in his brother Roy's garage, and he had a flip pad and a sketch pencil. Everybody starts somewhere. And the first step that you take when you leave here, and the first step then when you take when you get back to your salon, and hopefully you look at that quadrant learning I gave you, is going to depend on what you take up. Because these are words, and we're looking for you to take them into works. And that's where I started. Man, I love every minute of it. There's me and my dad. I was 17 in that picture. I'd been cutting hair for a few years already. Those pictures on the left are Johnny's barbershop, and that chair still sits in our basement, and our grandkids climb all over it. And the things that I learned from Dad in Johnny's barbershop, oh my goodness. Little things don't mean a lot, they mean everything. One of the habits that I got from my dad, actually my first job was cleaning his barbershop when I was 7. And every Friday night I would go there, and You got to be at least 60 to understand what I'm going to share with you now. See, the floors that were linoleum, you used to have to strip the wax off them, and then you would re-wax them again. I don't know if anybody relate to that whatsoever. It wasn't just snap your fingers with a mop like it is nowadays. During the school days, I would go and I'd have to empty the ashtrays because back in that day, each ashtray would be 4 inches thick. In a barber shop, the mirrors along behind my dad was just this massive mirror. And that job was to clean those mirrors. And when my dad would look at those mirrors, he wouldn't look at them straight on. He would go to the side to make sure there wasn't a streak on them. And the first thing I want you to do, how many people, you really don't even put your hand up on this one. You think you're playing the game at the top? You really got things rocking? When you get back to the salon, I want you to take a look at your hand mirror. And if it's absolutely sparkling, good on you. I want you to open up your brush drawer. I want to see what that looks like. It just is a little thing. I just want to check. Perfect. And it's my dad's habit. See, success isn't something you do, it's who you are. And it was my dad's habit that of every haircut, and we would do 6 haircuts in an hour. Any barbers in here, maybe you can relate to those days. Baby, there was no guards. It was zip, 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 the beautiful taper, beautiful free-form flat top, and we had 3 sets of clippers because they were so hot you couldn't even hang on to them. But I tell you, $1.75 for a haircut. Times that by 6. What do you got? Almost $12. Now let's go back to about 1973, 74. Was that a lot of money? Oh my goodness. But here's one of the things that every time my dad was done a haircut, he would take his hand mirror, and it was like a ritual. He would mist it with water, and he would take a towel, and he would polish it, and then he would show the gentleman their look. So guess what I did? You see, the world is a mirror. We mirror the habits that we see. Dad did that because in his barber college, that's what they did. I did that because that's when I hung out with my dad. And then all of a sudden, when I got out into the world, and I saw people that were supposed to be phenomenal, and their mirror looked like it came over on the last boat with Christopher Columbus, lipstick smudged across the top. And I'm not going to go there, but it's just the little things. So my story was grounded that way. And that salon you see on the right-hand side, that sign in the window, you can't make it out from there. It's called Wayne's Hair Design. And that was after we progressed, because the very first name of our salon, I'll tell you, it was 1978. 78 was a big year for me. My wife and I this goes back into the generations. Deborah graduated from high school, we got married, and we started our first business that year. And we had our first little one. She was 18. Deborah was 18. I was 19, and we had all of our 3 babies by the time that we were like 24, 25. It goes back a few years. Many of you tell that same story. But when Deborah and I opened that salon, we borrowed $3,400 from the bank. The only thing we had to our name was a 1975 Camaro Super Sport. And it was raced to the 9s. And we had to put it up for collateral. That's okay, because I actually, at one time, when I was 17, I had a 68 Camaro. I sold it in the best investment I ever made, and that was to buy the engagement ring. Back to the 75 Camaro that we put up here, we ran out of money when we were putting the plumbing in. And I was so fortunate that my sales consultant, as you have your amazing consultants, came and said, Wayne, I don't know anything about plumbing, but I'm going to give you a hand, man. Next thing you know, we had the doors open. Well, we're not going to go year by year, but we're going to pop up to 1984. And yeah, that is not Yanni, I guess. That's Yanni. And major inspirations in my life beyond family have been books that I've read. And the books that I've read have been so inspiring to me, and then also being able to work with phenomenally talented stylists. But I realized it was a balance between mastering the craft, but mastering people. And when I look back at my dad never knew a stranger, because the moment you met my dad, you were connected with him. And the more I grew in the industry too, as I found that there was some hairdressers that I wouldn't let cut my lawn, not alone my hair. But man, were they busy. But if you took the balance of the person who did master the craft and the balance of people who will invest in learning, educational, communication, connection skills, wow, could there be success? In 1982, my wife and I had opened up another location in Saskatoon, and that was about 60 miles away from Humboldt, in a small town where we were. We opened with a staff of 3. The next year we had a staff of 10. The next year we had a staff of 37. Oh my goodness, it was just rocking! And I'll tell you what, we did great work, but we didn't cut and color and perm better than everybody else in town. But we had better communication skills. We had better connection skills. We were focused on the brand, who we were and who we worked with. The reason that I put this up there, because that was my first step into education. The rooms that were packed led me also to a balance. In 1987, by the way, these are VHS tapes. And some of you even shouted out to me and sent me pictures that you actually had some of these out. There was a series of 3. One was on permanent waving, one was on cutting, and the other was on salon communication. And that was the birth of the 5 keys of success. And one of the most valuable things that we'll leave in this industry when the time comes and you're past and gone will be the world of Surface and the 5 keys of success. And it was a system of training, because it was back when you saw the picture of Yanni there at Hair World. If there's one interview that I could do in my life and take back, it was an interview I did with Modern Salon magazine after the Hair World Olympics. Because the person who did the interview with me, she said, Wayne, what do you feel really makes a successful stylist? Why are some people so successful and some people are challenging to grow their business? Right off the top of my head, I said, it's called The Naturals. Boom, cover of Modern. The Naturals. And I said, well, you know, some people, when somebody walks in your salon and they're on the books for a haircut and you see them, you go, oh my goodness, oh, that was the perm, oh, that'll be the color, oh, there's these new products that they need, oh, there's this, oh, just naturally your brain just goes, wow. How many people got that brain? So you don't see the haircut on the books, you see all the opportunity. And I said, when that person sits in your chair, that enthusiasm just pours over and they look amazing. And it went on a little bit with communication skills with it. And as I matured later on in life, I looked at it and I said, what a disservice I made. Because what if someone who was a little more quiet, reserved person read that and went, you know, I'm not a natural. I'm in the wrong business. So where that took me to is by 1994 is when we had the full-fledged 5 Keys of Success, had toured major shows throughout the United States and Canada. And we identified 5 steps. Get your chair full, communicate effectively, do great work, make sure your guests can take care of their hair at home, and rebook them, wow them. And it actually had actions that you could do at every step to grow. Because guess what? There's no magic wand. I can't reach in here and take that pixie dust and throw it across and throw it across. It doesn't work like that. What does work is when you recognize your story. And from that person you write down, then you can recognize, where does the story come from? Why am I me? This is what I love. This is what I am. Those words, what I am going to become. So when we can do that, it's that fine balance. And those are the cassettes tapes. Those are the videotapes. Boom, the next one that we come up here. I did a tour across. A dear friend of mine who passed in the beginning times of COVID was Martin Parsons. And Martin would do a year's tour of all the major shows in Canada, and I would do the next year's shows in it. And they always balanced the art and the business. Is your chair full? The first one. And when Surface came to life in 2008, there's our board of directors. Oh my goodness. Becca holding the little white dog by the little guy there, Johnny, on the side, their education director. Hey, Becca, I can't wait for the educator training. And the inspiration from Surface really came when we take a look on my left-hand side. You see the little lady holding one of the twins there? That's Jackie. She's also a phenomenal hairdresser. She's 4th generation. And the 4th generation stylist that she is, she also heads up now innovation for our company, bringing new products to life. And where that picture came from was all of a sudden I was coming 50, looked at Deborah and said, you know what? As we're looking at our semi-retirement, yeah, we really slowed things down, didn't we, honey? He said, I want to study personal health. And when I started studying personal health, it led me to the potential toxins that are in our industry. And it absolutely floored me. And I met with chemists, organic chemists, to see what we could possibly do to bring a product to the world. Not thinking that we were going to do it, because remember, we're semi-retiring with that, by the way. But what could we possibly do to bring the product to the world? What would it need to be? So basically, we mortgaged everything that we possibly had. When we mortgaged everything that we possibly had, we started working with a company. We didn't ask what the product was going to cost. How crazy is that as a business person? And yeah, now we're up for EY. Our goal was to be able to see how good of a product we could have while completely respecting personal health and the earth. I can remember it was like yesterday. Myself, Deborah, and our kids were in our bedroom, my office, which is right next to the bedroom because my office is in my house. We're in the office, and we get the phone call from the companies, and they tell us what our costing is going to be, and it's 5 times what we're projecting them to be. We hung up. We looked at each other and said, as a family, we can run a company, and we can do it ourselves, and we can do it, and thus it was born. The goal at that time was to be able to have an answer for each specific need of hair. To be able to have curly hair, to be able to have the thinning hair, to be able to have color lock, to be able to grow into that, and to combine it with the education necessary to thrive. In 2008, taking the cutting system. Some people may not be that free-form natural. We can coach you a system that visually you can communicate, see one of those 5 core haircuts, bam, you have a sectioning roadmap in your man, and you can do it. There's nothing you can't do. One of the most frustrating times for me as an artist was when people would sit in my chair and go, you see that Farrah Fawcett? Those are the layers I want. They didn't teach me that one. That tells you how old I am. So the core haircuts were born. After that, I never believed that all of a sudden we would find out that we were the lead brand within Reader's Choice Awards. We'd be on over 25 different movie sets with the choice product that people were using backstage. It was like, oh my goodness, what a dream come true. In our story, I didn't believe it was because of the success that you embraced us with that we'd be able to give back the way we do. Because if it wasn't for you and our partnership, we wouldn't be able to make the difference in the people's lives that way. And this year, it absolutely floored us. And it came after Deborah and I were able to be in a position where we could give back to sponsor an area of our children's hospital in the NICU. And the company of EY of Ernst & Young came to us and said, we'd like to interview you with the potential of Entrepreneur of the Year. And we won for the Prairies, which is in Western Canada, and now we're up for the finalists. And I guess if we are the company that's chosen out of there, we're at the Worlds. And what really makes me feel so good is we're hairdressers. And Deborah and I first looked at the roster on there, and some of these companies on there, they're on the stock exchange. It's crazy. From the Bitcom to the oil wells to the construction companies. And I said, you know what? We're in the business of beauty. But the key is that it has been a business. And join me with the journey. Where did it start? 2009. Take a look at the heart right there. New beginnings. Got some people in this room that have been to Canada and gone through the training. We haven't done that. Maybe we'll have to pull that one out of the hat again sometime. Hey, Melinda? And the trainings at that time was a 3-day. It was one life skills, business, and cutting. And you see that city bus on the bottom? That's what we loaded all the people up. There's like 45 of them. Drove them over to our house so we could have a barbecue in the backyard. Because we want to connect with people. And all of a sudden, oh my goodness, throw some blessed magic dust. And you see that little new beginnings that started there? Well, within the next 10 years, we had done 110 new beginnings from coast to coast, corner to corner, to be able to bring that message to you. To be able to bring the 5 keys. We were able to touch over 11,000 stylists and salon owners. The majority of our salon growth managers came from connecting at us with events like that. And the reason that I share that is for the culture of your salons. People love you and your connection. Identify that. As Daniel said earlier, when you look at your brand as an owner, why do people work with you? Your culture, never lose sight of what that culture could be. We shouted it in 2008, profitability in a green world. And there was the 5 keys of success. And with that, you guys, we'll let them take that picture, and then you can go back live on your camera for a bit here, because I'm going to guide us through here just for a couple of hot tips. But I am going to tell you that they're going to tease you that there is going to be a virtual Mind and Business Forum next November with me, very in-depth, in our 5 keys of success. Because this is it. First of all, I want you to identify, you need between 150 and 180 people to love you to have a full book. That's it. It's 150 to 180. If you're working with 6 guests in a day, working with 2.5 to 3 colors in a day, 6 people in a day is a full book at Full Chemical Services. If you're rebooking them on a 4-week basis, oh my goodness, a 6-week basis, all you need is 150 people to love you. In getting your chair full, there's 4 things I want you to consider. Number 1, nothing will replace face-to-face. Nothing. Which means a smile on your face, underneath the mask even, and they will go away someday. With that, the smile in your eyes when you're at the grocery store, when you're at the clothing store, when you're connecting within your community. Do you need 1,000 people to love you? No. Do you need 300 people to love you? No. You need 150 people to love you. And how can you wow them? So the number 1 is still connecting face to face within your community. How can you connect within your community? The second one is social media. What can you do on social media to be able to produce your brand out there? But guess what? When they come into your salon, you better have the people skills, communication skills. You had better be able to connect with the people on that one-on-one basis, because you get one chance in the world to make a first impression. Within 10 seconds of walking into your salon, people will be deciding whether they love you or not. It's that simple. Within 10 seconds. Be the best dressed person you meet that day. Whether it's hip and trendy, whatever your brand is, make sure you portray it from the tip of your toe to the top of your head. Every day before you go to work, what I want you to do is stand in front of a full-length mirror. That little voice has got to pop up and look in there and go, baby, you look fine. And when you walk, you got to walk as if there's a string from the top of your head to the top of the ceiling. Because guess what? People do not want this person to connect with them. Follow me back. I can see that energy. People want to be able to feel that. So in your social media, to be able to put that energy and that love and that passion into it, but then you better be able to walk the talk within the salon. I challenge you this, when you go back to your salon, I want you to stand in the reception area. Whether it's a salon of 1 or it's a salon of 101, this big challenge, write it down. I want you to turn 360 degrees. I want you to look in the eye of a guest at your floor. I want you to look at your retail area. Your retail area is going to tell you a lot about branding. Does it look like a local Walmart, multi-branded? If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything with it. What does it look like? Your styling station, what does it look like? Look at the side of your mirror. What does it look like? Now, don't go to the back bathroom. Go to the guest's bathroom. Sit in the guest's bathroom. See what it looks like. Do you ever see the brand new salon the day that it opens? My goodness, there could be something falling on the floor and the owner doesn't even have to break a step to pick it up. How'd that scuff get on the wall? As soon as the door's closed, the paint's out and fix that little scuff up. Now let's roll a clock back down 9 months. Little things don't mean a lot, they mean everything. Catch your breath and look at you. Look at your story, look at your business. Identify that. I want to make sure when I get in my chair full, there's another thing I want to share with you is hardcover advertising. The majority of our business isn't a big enough volume to be effective there anymore, which is your local press. So the first one is face-to-face, connecting your community. The second one is social media. Let me jump to the bottom one. And boy, are you going to get some information on this tomorrow, along with some great hair too. Four-wall marketing. Four-wall marketing is the displays that you have within your space. So if you're properly using and focusing your retail space, make sure you're properly displaying that base so that you can have space sell for yourself. What does your styling station sell? What can you do within those four walls to market? Communicating effectively, understanding that there's 3 levels in which people listen at. Number 1, listening skills, ignore. Lights are on, nobody's home. The next level of listening with your guest is an active listener. And boy, this can be tough. The more we're in the social media world, the better we have to practice listening. Just telling you, because the attention span is here. The active listener thinks that they're listening, but their little voice is a million miles away during conversation. Even when you're looking at that person talking, have you ever just been gone on the beach? She's in your chair, you're doing that haircut, and your little voice cuts in and goes, "What's her name? You have been doing her hair for 15 years. What is her name?" And then we have to do like all style. We go, "Excuse me just for a second, I'll be right back." And you run, you take a look at your book, you come back, "Sally, how have you been doing?" Little things don't mean a lot. Little things mean everything. So when I connect within communication, I want to make sure that you take your appointment book and you visualize each guest coming in the next day and how are you going to maximize their experience. How can you present an experience to them you know they need, but they don't know it yet? You need to present it to them, as in the treatments that I shared before. What's that experience going to be so that when she comes in, you can open up that beautifully clean, neat brush drawer, and you can see a day card in there. It's a cheap spot. And when you take a look at that day card in there, it says Sally Ann, it says what she's in for, but it also you put a note, "Oh, gee whiz, when she was in last time, she was going to her daughter's ballet recital." Oh, we got to connect on that. The next thing I'll see on there is, "Oh, you know, she really needs the color lock. We need to connect on the color lock. And we got the new mask for her, the Trinity color bonding mask." Little things don't mean a lot. They mean everything. There is a word, the coin that came out in the 80s of "fake it till you make it." I don't believe in that, man. You don't have a chance to. Let's be on our A game every single day. We get our chair full, we communicate effectively, we do great work continuously, and that's what today was out, is having systems of training. Don't let yourself fake it till you make it. Making sure your guest looks great at home. What's the first thing you use on your hair, by the way? Shampoo, what's the next thing you use? Conditioner, what's the next thing you use? Leave-in. Then you use, styling is so important to put it this way, not just one product. Most of you use 3 types of styling product. Categorize them. Wet styling, dry styling, and hold. You also use then your dry shampoo, your dry shampoo foam. Then you've got your dry conditioner. And she looks at you and she goes, "Which one do I need the most?" Now you're trained. What did I say? You're trained to be able to say, you know, if your beauty budget doesn't allow you to take them all today, I'm going to write down their order of importance. You can select what your beauty budget allows, and let's set a goal of 3 visits to come in. How cool is that? Now you got a plan. But guess what? You better write that plan down, because when that guest comes in next time, you've got to be able to follow that plan. And it's from the heart. The why. Why are you a hairdresser? To make people beautiful. So what if I took away all the stuff that you use on your hair? How beautiful would you be able to be and feel? Again, little things don't mean a lot. They mean everything. And guest retention, if you do everything that we're talking about well, are you going to have people coming back? Absolutely. And to be able to do that selfie with that guest in the salon and post it, tag them. But don't just leave there. Go back to it after they put it and they forward it and going, "Man, it was so great to see you today." Keep that conversation going. So there really is only 5 keys to success. You get your chair full, you communicate effectively, you do great work continually, you make sure your guest looks great at home, and you keep them coming back. I call that WOW creates WOM. What WOM stands for is word of mouth. When you can have people WOM you on social media, it spreads. But how many people do you need to have love you? Takes a little pressure off, doesn't it? That's all we need. What we just shared with you here is just a sprinkling. There is so much information anytime that we put these together, but it also is part of our story of how we've connected and built salons throughout North America. And that also became our foundation when COVID hit. When COVID hit in the March and the salons were locked down, the number one thing that I said to Deborah, I says, we need to stay connected with our beauty world. People need to know that there's people are here for them. We don't know when it's going to end. We don't know for sure where it's going to. But that became our basement for 6 months, which was our studio. The video that you see up in the corner was on crisis management. It had 4 points to it. And the 4 points that we had on that video there was to be able to assess, stabilize, recover, and grow. It was a 4-minute video that had over 10,000 people jump on to be able to engage it. When we take it one step farther there is being able to stay continuous, and I can't thank our entire Salon Growth Management team enough, and a huge shout out to Sean, to Lindsay, to Dawn, and the rest of them for jumping on. Being able to create programs of curbside pickup, grand openings for salons, We Care support, haircutting, science videos, taking a complete nurtured world to it. And I just want you to know that we are now and always will be here for you. And a date I want you to put in your calendar is November the 13th this fall. And you can hang with me live, virtually connected for Mind and Business. You see, my friends, it's people that make the difference in our world. It's people who are dreamers and they dare to make their dreams a reality. We dare you to make your dreams a reality. It's people who care more than others think that's good to care. It's people who are committed to growth of education of themselves and others. Quite simply, people who reach on the ground and reach for the stars and realize you don't get up there on your own. There needs to be steps within that ladder. And from the bottom of my heart, I want you to please share your appreciation with the artists who shared today with you, our models. And we've got such a day planned tomorrow. But please put your heart and soul together for these amazing people.
May you have auspiciousness and causes of success. May you have the confidence to always do your best. May it take no effort in your being generous, sharing what you can, nothing more, nothing less. May you know the meaning of the word happiness. May you always lead from the beating in your chest. May you be treated like an esteemed guest. May you get to rest, may you catch your breath. May the best of your todays be the worst of your tomorrows. Whoa. May the road less paved be the road that you follow. Oh, well, here's to the hearts that you're gonna break. Here's to the lives
Sure
that
that this song was written for you. Jason Mraz was reading my mind. We want you to have it all. Thank you guys so much. Have an amazing evening, and we'll see you in the morning.
I'd be sad without you. I want you to have it all. 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 May you be as fascinating as a slap bracelet. May you keep the chaos and the clutter off your desk. May you have unquestionable health and less stress. Having no possessions though immeasurable.
Somebody